right, so Mo, is marriage being weaponized to make you feel that if you aren't married, you aren't complete?
So I saw this on Funky Friday, which is Cam Newton's podcast. He is a former football player, quarterback, and he had Kirk Franklin on his podcast, who was a really popular gospel singer. And Kirk Franklin, when he was speaking to this, he was more so talking about how he believes that Western Christianity has weaponized marriage in order to make certain people who are married seem as if they have accomplished more or done better than people who are not. But I personally, when I heard this message, I was so happy that someone else said it, because I think it goes much deeper than church. I think this is just in society. Like, I'm always speaking to this, how I've constantly had, and I still do, go when I was single, I would go places and that would be the topic of conversation. Or, why are you single? When are you going to get a girlfriend? Then you get a girlfriend, and now the topic of conversation is, why are you not married? When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? And it just doesn't stop. And it's like, at what point does that become an intrusive question and you just let people be happy where they are? And that's something that I think Kirk Franklin was getting to when he delivered this message.
I believe that marriage has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Giving has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Sexuality has been weaponized. For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion. All the older women are going to do them. They're going to look at you and wonder, why you not married?
Where your man at? Where your kids at?
Like, it's a prerequisite for identity and value, that if you don't have a man, if you don't have kids, that something about you is broken. Do you understand how dysfunctional these messages are?
Yeah.
And how we super spiritualize these messages. Paul said, but marriage is a necessary distraction. I have many friends that were in ministry at church, and the church has told them, if you're going to be in ministry, you can't be single. We're not going to let you work with the youth ministry if you're single. You can't do this if you're single. And so what people do, they quickly get married thinking that they're fulfilling God's will for their lives, but they are fulfilling man's dogma. You can be single and be used by God. You can be single and have purpose. Being married is not a prerequisite for God's hand on your life. It is not, but we've weaponized it. And then crucify people. Where my camera at?
Right there.
And then crucify people when those same marriages fail.
I thought that was powerful.
Took us to church. Abby, where does that hit you?
For me, I think I get where he's coming from in terms of, like, so many people see single people as a problem to be fixed. And honestly, like, sometimes I even see that in myself, like, oh God, I'm 27 and I've never been in a serious relationship. But I think what I've noticed, and honestly, I think I have social media to thank for this, is that so many people my age are speaking up and admitting that we've all never been in serious relationships despite our age. And I think so much of the younger generation is realizing that they're not willing to commit unless it's something worth committing to. And I don't think older generations really had that choice. I do think there was more pressure, maybe 20 or 30 years ago. Because 50 years ago, women couldn't even hold credit cards. So there was a pressure to get married just so you could live. But for me, like, I would rather be single and not in a broken relationship and be proud of the life that I built rather than start a life with somebody else that feels like it's breaking down.
I completely agree. And like you said, I just think we got to get to a point where people understand that if you are not married, if you are not in a relationship, it doesn't make you less than anyone who is.
You're not broken.
You are not broken.
I still want a boyfriend, though.
Hang in there, Abby.
Okay, maybe Abby's a little bit broken.
The Bert Show.